ChatGPT Canvas is a built-in workspace inside ChatGPT that lets you write, edit, and refine documents without ever leaving the chat. Most people using ChatGPT right now have no idea it exists, and if they do, they're probably not using it the right way. Because here's the pattern that's costing them time every single day. You ask ChatGPT something, you get a decent answer, you copy it, paste it into Google Docs, realize something's off, go back to the chat, re-explain the whole situation, and copy it again. That loop doesn't just feel annoying, it actually costs you time. And over a week, those minutes turn into hours. Most people treat ChatGPT like a vending machine. You put in a prompt, you get an output, you take it somewhere else. And every time you do that, you lose context, you lose formatting, and you lose momentum. Canvas is the fix. It's not a new AI. It's a new way to work with the one you already have. And by the end of this video, you'll walk away with 3 workflows you can run in under 25 minutes each: a YouTube script builder, an SOP builder, and a sales email sequence. These aren't hypotheticals. They're the exact workflows I use. Without them, you're leaving one of the most useful tools you're already paying for completely underused. Before we run any of these workflows, you need to understand what Canvas actually is and why it works differently from anything you've used inside ChatGPT before. Here's the core shift. Normal ChatGPT is a conversation. Canvas is a workspace. Think of it like this. You're writing a YouTube script, a sales email, or onboarding docs for a new hire. You ask ChatGPT for a draft, you get something decent, you copy it into docs. The tone's wrong. Too stiff, too formal. So you go back to the chat, re-explain the context, paste in sections, ask for changes, copy again. That round trip takes 20 minutes, and you haven't actually improved anything yet. Canvas eliminates that round trip entirely. When Canvas opens, your workspace separates your conversation from your document. On one side, you give instructions. On the other side, you edit the actual draft without jumping between tabs. When you make edits or give new instructions, your document updates within that same workspace. If you've never opened Canvas before, here's how to get in. Start a new chat inside ChatGPT. Either click the Canvas option when it appears, or just ask ChatGPT to open your draft in Canvas. That's it. The first is inline editing. You highlight a sentence or a section and ask Canvas to rewrite only that part, without changing anything else in the document. You're editing with precision instead of regenerating entire drafts every time something's off. The second is built-in editing shortcuts. Canvas makes it easier to shorten sections, simplify language, improve clarity, and refine tone, without manually rewriting everything yourself. The third advantage is that everything stays in one workspace. Instead of losing track of drafts across multiple chat threads, docs tabs, and notes apps, your revisions stay in one place. That sounds minor, but it saves a surprising amount of time. Here's a beginner mistake. Most people open Canvas and use it exactly like the normal chat, typing one long prompt and waiting for a perfect result. That's not how Canvas works. You build in layers. The inline tools are where the real speed comes from. Now that you know how Canvas works, let's put it to use. Workflow 1 is for content creators, and it's the one that pays back the fastest. If you create content, this workflow is the one that pays back the fastest. You have a video idea. You know roughly what you want to say. But staring at a blank document is where most creators burn an hour before they write a single word. Canvas is one of the fastest ways I've found to solve that problem. Step 1. Give Canvas a focused brain dump prompt. Don't just type your topic. Give it context. Here's the structure that works every time. Your topic, your target audience, the key points you want to hit, and the tone you're going for. The prompt template should include the topic, target audience, which includes the age, gender, and geographical area, the key points, and the tone. Here's a prompt example. Write a YouTube script about video creation. The target audience are male and female content creators ages 25 to 45. Key points: create video clips in 3 minutes with minimal prompting for free. Tone: conversational and direct. The more specific you are, the better your first draft gets. Step 2. Evaluate the structure, not the sentences. Canvas will generate a full script in the right panel. Hook, body sections, CTA, all labeled and ready to edit. At this point, don't read it line by line looking for perfection. Scan the structure. Is the flow logical? Are all your key points there? If yes, move on. Step 3. Use inline editing on the hook. The hook usually needs work on the first pass. That's expected, not a problem. Highlight the opening paragraph and tell Canvas, make this more conversational and punchy. The viewer should feel like I'm talking directly to them. Canvas rewrites just that section. Everything else stays exactly where it is. You're not starting over. You're editing in place, the same way you'd work with a human editor in a shared doc. Step 4. Simplify the language. Use Canvas's editing tools to simplify the script language and make it easier for your audience to follow. For most YouTube audiences, you want something close to a 7th or 8th grade reading level. Not because your audience isn't smart, because simpler language is faster to process when someone's watching, not reading. Step 5. Add B-roll markers. Type a message in the chat panel. Insert B-roll markers at the points where screen recordings or visuals would help clarify the explanation. Canvas can help generate B-roll markers directly in your script when prompted. You may need to refine the request once to get placement exactly where you want it. When you sit down to record or edit, everything is already mapped. The result? A formatted, ready-to-record YouTube script with a hook structured body, CTA, and B-roll markers, built in under 20 minutes. Not a rough outline, an actual script. Scripts handle the content side of your business. But if you're bringing people in to help run it, content alone won't hold things together. That's where the second workflow comes in. Here's a situation every solopreneur knows. You hire a VA to take something off your plate. The first week is just you explaining, re-explaining, and answering the same questions on repeat. Delegation ends up creating more work than doing it yourself. The fix isn't a better VA, it's a better handoff document, and Canvas builds one in under 15 minutes. Step 1. Open a fresh Canvas session. Don't use the same session from your script workflow. Keep projects separate so each workspace stays organized and easier to manage. Then give Canvas a specific prompt. Not "help me with my business," but something like this. Here's the prompt template. Create a step-by-step SOP for onboarding a new virtual assistant, including the tools they'll need access to, the accounts to set up on day 1, and a first-week task checklist. Step 2. Review the structure. Canvas generates a structured document on the right, numbered steps, tool placeholders, a checklist section at the bottom. It won't be perfect, but the structure will be solid. That skeleton is what saves you time. You're not building from zero anymore. Step 3. Replace placeholders with your actual tools. Use inline editing to swap out generic placeholders for your real tools. Highlight the line that says Project Management Tool. Tell Canvas to replace it with Notion. Do the same for your file storage, your communication platform, your client-facing tools. This takes about 3 minutes and turns a generic template into something that actually reflects how your business runs. Step 4. Expand sections surgically. If any step needs more detail, go to the chat panel and type something like, expand the account access section with more detail on permission levels. Canvas adds to that specific section without touching anything else. This is the part most people miss. You can grow the document one section at a time, exactly where you need it. Step 5. Export to your preferred workspace. When you're satisfied, copy the document into Google Docs, Notion, or wherever your team already works. In most cases, formatting transfers well. But always double-check your document after pasting. Don't paste real client names, financial details, or login credentials into Canvas during the build. Keep the SOP generic and fill in sensitive specifics manually after you export. Good practice with any AI tool. Now you have a reusable SOP that handles your onboarding process indefinitely. Every future hire starts from the same clean baseline, and you stop repeating the same onboarding conversations. You've got a script, you've got a system. Now let's talk about the workflow that directly affects your revenue. The one most solopreneurs avoid because writing 3 emails from scratch feels like too much work. Most solopreneurs fall into one of 2 traps with email marketing. They avoid it entirely because writing 3 emails from scratch feels like too much work, or they outsource it to someone who doesn't know their voice. Canvas gives you a third option. You own it yourself, and you finish it in one sitting. You do not need a massive email funnel to start making sales. You need 3 emails: a welcome email, a follow-up email, and a CTA email. That's it. If it converts, you run it on repeat for months. Step 1. Give Canvas the full brief, upfront load everything in from the start. Product name, target buyer, core pain point, desired action, number of emails. Here's a prompt that works. Here's the prompt template. Write a 3 email sales sequence for the product. Target buyer is the audience who struggles with their pain point. Desired action, call to action. Sequence, welcome email, follow-up handling the main objection, CTA email with a deadline. The more you load into that initial prompt, the less cleanup you do later. Step 2. Read the whole sequence side by side. Canvas lays out all 3 emails in one document: email 1, email 2, email 3. Each with a subject line, body copy, and a sign-off. In a normal chat thread, those 3 emails are buried in a scrolling conversation and nearly impossible to compare. In Canvas, you see the entire sequence at once. You can instantly spot if the tone feels inconsistent between emails, or if your CTA is buried too deep in email 3. Step 3. Fix the subject lines. Highlight each subject line and ask Canvas to give you 3 alternatives that create curiosity without clickbait. Read them out loud. The one that sounds most like something you'd actually send is usually the right pick. Step 4. Push the CTA email to be more direct. The final CTA email almost always needs a tone adjustment. AI-generated copy defaults to neutral and polite when it should be direct and confident. Use Canvas's editing tools to push the tone. You're not being aggressive. You're being clear. Your readers can feel the difference. Step 5. Do a human edit pass before you move it to your email platform. This step is non-negotiable. Canvas gives you structure and pacing. What it can't give you is a specific memory, a client story, or a line only you would write. Add one personal detail to each email: a real situation, a result you've seen, something that didn't come from a prompt. That's what makes a sequence convert instead of just land in the inbox. Be careful and do not skip this step. This kills open rates. AI copy reads like generic wording, and your unsubscribe rate will confirm that faster than any analytics dashboard. You just created a deployable 3 email sales sequence in under 25 minutes, ready to load into any email platform you're already using. Before you open Canvas and start building your own workflows, there are 2 rules that will determine whether your sessions are fast and focused or frustrating. 2 rules will determine whether your Canvas sessions are efficient or frustrating. Rule 1. 1 task per prompt. The fastest way to get unfocused output is to ask Canvas to do too many things at once. Write my script, add B-roll notes, adjust the tone, and make it 1,500 words is 4 instructions. Break them apart. Give Canvas one clear job, evaluate the result, then give it the next one. That's where the speed actually comes from. Rule 2. Always do a human edit pass. Canvas is a first draft engine, not a publish button. Your judgment, your specific details, your voice, those are what separate content that performs from content that just exists. Budget 5 minutes at the end of every Canvas session to read the output out loud and make it sound like you. Remember to never paste real client data, financial figures, or anything legally sensitive into Canvas. Build with generic placeholders and swap in the specifics after you export. Those 2 rules apply every time you open Canvas, regardless of what you're building. Keep them close. Now let's wrap this up. Canvas turns ChatGPT from a simple answer machine into a real business workspace. That's the shift most solopreneurs are still missing. And now you know exactly how to make it. Pick one workflow and build it today. The fastest way to learn Canvas is to actually use it. The YouTube script builder if you create content. The SOP builder if you're bringing someone new on soon. The email sequence if you have a product sitting without a launch plan. If this saved you time, hit the like button. It helps other solopreneurs find this. And if you want to connect these Canvas workflows to full automations using Google Workspace, Make, and Zapier, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.